Okay, now we're going to look at putting on a 2-foot guide, and we have a selection here: match rod, fly rod, big game roller, and a fairly large guide off of a carp, surf rod, or anything similar. And we'll start with the surf rod size. When working with big guides like this, quite often there's a problem that the step on the end of the guide is thicker than the actual thread you are using. Therefore you have to do what we term dress the guide foot. So you dress the point down and the step is not as great. As opposed to using a fine file, you can use an oil stone. If you have access to a carbon stone on a lathe, then gently do that. It looks a lot better there. And just do the other end. You're going to be concerned that we have removed the coating on this guide. Remember that the majority of guides today have stainless steel frames. And when you coat the thread with epoxy, provided you've got the epoxy through all of the thread into the guide foot, that will then form an airlock. And only excessive use of the rod will create cracks in the epoxy adhesion to the rod to let air in and cause any corrosion after a long period of use. So there we are. We've now dressed both feet on this guide. Let's get the guide in place. Stand it on your blank. Line it up approximately with the rest of the guides using a short piece of masking tape. Just hold the blank in place. As you rotate the rod, it doesn't move and you can continue working. As previously, take the thread over the top, round underneath, create the crossover. Just gently hold it in place with finger and thumb as you do your first 3 or 4 turns, so the thread is locked in place. Using the thumb to get a straight edge. We can now use this single-handed snips to snip off the excess thread. Do some gentle packing as we go. We're now coming up to the guide foot. It should just go up very slowly without too many crossovers. It takes a bit of patience and a bit of time to get it correct. So we'll tighten the tension up slightly on the spool. Invariably get tram lines as you work up the shoulder of the foot. So again, just take your time, do the packing, continue a few more turns, do some more packing. I'm now on the flat of the foot, crossover. Yet again, always looking at the thread to make certain there's no crossovers and you've got a nice smooth finish. I come near to the end where we want to start thinking about putting our loop in. So one really good final pack, finger on, find a piece of thread, lay it under, take up the tension, lock the loop in place. Keep working to the end of the foot. Just another little pack. Keep the loop out nice and tidy. And where I've said normally 5 is sufficient, it doesn't matter if you go up to about 10 turns. One last turn. And lock the thread with the forefinger. Single-handed snips, cut the main thread, pick up the end loop, end of the thread, and put it through the loop. Pull the loop tight to the end. Pull that tight, and that's now locked in. Quick check, everything looks all right. Pick up the tag end. Cut it just shorter than the distance where your loop comes out, snip, and then pull at 45 degrees. And that is one side complete.